For those of you who don't know Josh, he's been working with us at the OC for over 5 years. When he first reached out for help, he was working in a converted garage studio, working with people one-to-one. These days, he owns ONF and he has a coaching team of 5 people and over 140 clients. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to break down the whole story from where Josh entered the industry to him saving up the money and having big enough balls to take the leap into this thing and all the lessons that you can learn along the way. So let's get into it. Right, Josh, let's break it down right from the start. How did you find your way into the industry?
Right, in a nutshell, it was sports science in Newcastle, Northumbria University, so 3 years there. Did that because all I knew was sport.
Yeah.
It wasn't that I specifically wanted to go into that industry, just happened. And then I worked for a university gym where I got my PT qualification there. And I probably spent about just under a year there, and then I went to David Lloyd. That's when it started to kick off.
That was the profile picture when you first joined.
That was this one. This one. And maybe like the tricep skull crusher one. And I went to David Lloyd. I think I was there for about a year or so, but it was tough because, as we all know, commercial gyms are pretty rubbish in terms of pay and everything like that, hours. Yeah. But it was the best learning curve I ever had, was being there. They put me on some courses as well with their in-house teams, which I thought were really good. And then I just built my relationships there, and I think it was important for me. The gym was in Luton, which was near sort of an affluent area, not Luton itself, but like Harpenden and everything like that. And I got to know different kinds of people from different backgrounds.
Yeah.
And them relationships helped me sort of like learn conversations. And I think that's the biggest thing in this game is being a people person and talking, and like you're great at that. And that's where I learned my craft as such, as well as the exercise stuff. Probably did a lot of bad stuff, but then learned from my mistakes. And then while I was doing that, I was like, maybe I could do my own thing. And my mum found a cupboard in a converted garage, which was one of her friends. And she was like, do you want to try doing some stuff locally? I was like, why not? It wasn't, in terms of expense wise, it wasn't that much, but to me it was at that time because I had no clients. But within 5 months, I was handing in my notice at David Lloyd, and because I was fully booked in the garage. And yeah, that was the start of my fitness, is David Lloyd, had my own studio, and then it was, and that was around sort of 2018 I started that studio. So it was a while ago now. So I've been in the game about 8-9 years.
A lot of work in that time, right?
Yeah.
And it was in that studio where you reached out to me. We had many calls from that studio.
Yes, we did.
And we were just having a laugh just now about the first message. You were fully booked, which is, pat on the back.
Yeah.
A lot of people come to us and they're unable to get to that point. So you'd got to the point where you were fully booked, working in what effectively was a cupboard. It was tiny, but it was everything you needed for one-to-one PT.
That was amazing.
Okay, so you used to do your calls to me, sat in a plyo box, chatting to me in that little cupboard.
And I think I reached out and I noticed you worked with online coaches and you were an online coach.
There you go.
But I was like, I liked the way you were, and the sort of, you were very much like me in terms of like, you have the systems, you were very specific, and I was like, I'm trying, but I don't really know, and I wanted to know. Yeah. So that's why I reached out.
100%. So I'm glad to hear that it gave you what you needed.
Yeah.
But why did you need help?
I think I was learning as I went along. So like I didn't have anyone that, and I think I sat back to myself and was like, I'd never had a boss, because, well, I did have a boss before, but in this studio I didn't have a boss, so I could get lazy. I had no one to tell me what to do, and not that I wanted you to tell me what to do, but I wanted you to show me and kind of guide me and keep me honest and keep me accountable for what I was doing. Because yes, it was going good, but could I maintain that? How could I tidy it up as such?
It felt like you had no ability to scale, but the desire to grow further, because you'd reached what was fully booked,
max,
but couldn't see the path to more and wanted to see the path to more.
Of course.
So I suppose the question is, if that is true, was this always the vision, something this big?
I think it wasn't when I first started that small studio. It was just keep ticking the boxes, keep growing, and I thought I was limited to that, really. And then I think as you settle down, there's always more, right? You always speak about more. Can you envision more? And I think having more chats with you, it was always like, actually, it was infectious what you were talking about, and maybe where you wanted to grow your business, because it was very much at the start of when you were doing this sort of like the business side of things.
That's
right?
important context, is that the way that you and I started working together was before the OC existed.
Yeah, exactly.
I wasn't even marketing it.
No.
And you reached out to ask for help, so it was one-to-one time. So you could see me running things in the way you wanted.
Yeah.
If this wasn't specifically in your mind, what was the goal?
I think it was, a lot of people say it, but it was to try and create a bit more impact. And I think having a team and business itself, I really liked. I think it was less about the coaching side of things. I think I wanted to move away slowly from the coaching side of things to more so running a business. And I liked the numbers side of things, and I liked the challenge of growing a business more than the actual coaching itself, even though I loved coaching, don't get me wrong. But I'd done it for five or so years, and we all know there's a kind of shelf life to that. But I think, and speaking more to you, because you were such a business-centric person, and I was like, I think I kind of was influenced by that.
No, that's good.
So this then came as
a result of that.
Of course.
I will say that I agree with the impact, and I agree with everything you've said. I'm going to challenge you and say that it feels people don't like to admit that they're driven by money. And I think that you are, to a degree.
Yeah.
And I think most people are scared to admit that, because in isolation, it makes you're scared people think you're an arsehole. I would say you're driven by money as well.
I think I'm driven by the freedom.
That comes from the money.
100%, but more so the freedom that comes with this business is that I could earn a lot more money, but I'd rather invest in the team, I'd rather invest in the gym, and I'd rather invest in my own time.
Yep.
And I think we spoke about this at the War Room, is that there's a lot of, there'd be a problem, probably a time in my life where I want to put more time into working, and like what you do is you're spending a lot of time working and grafting, and at the moment, I took a step back where I'm just focusing on the team and leading more so, and that's what I'm trying to learn myself, is leading. Is that's a hard role to, a hard sort of trait to improve, is the leadership, because I'm learning as I go along, and I think that's, yes, I was always chasing the money, the revenue to increase, to enable me to grow a team, or enable me to not feel pressure to pay the rent or keep the lights on. And I think that was the biggest thing for me, is that I wanted that feeling of feeling free. And
that's what you reached out and asked for, right? Is like that feeling. And the first message was around systems that you sent me. So if we go to when you asked for help, you reached out and asked for help, and it was systems was the word that you used.
Because I'm very, don't want to say the word OCD, because it's not, is it? We're very
nothing wrong with being organised, and nothing wrong with
that organisation is
liking control.
100%. And I like when things are efficient. It helps me sleep at night, is that I know that things are in place, like the gym's tidy, that my house is tidy. Like
100%.
So like it carries over, and I think my business was not messy, but it was a starting thing. So that there was things all over the place. Whereas you showed me like the systems, the Notion, the databases.
Is what systems specifically did you feel like the OC helped with, if we go right back to the start?
So Notion was a massive thing that I still use now. Like if you thought 5-6 years ago that you'd introduced me to a system that I still use now and have slowly changed and improved it, I couldn't live without that Notion database. And my coach, Amy, who's, which we can talk about the team at some point, but the head of communications, she uses that system because we have it in place.
But we built that system for a guy in a cupboard.
Yeah.
But we built that system with a view to scale, but baked in.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're right, the rule of the OC is first you adopt it as it's given, and then you adapt it to suit your changing requirements.
Absolutely.
So we plugged in Notion, but like what did we plug in to start with?
Plugged in like a member directory, which I had like a list of my one-to-one clients.
Like
everyone. It
everyone.
was just like, they were paying me this, but now it's like a complete database of everything about them, comments on them, like injuries they've had throughout the time, so you can look back. So it's like a complete database of each single person. But also what was a massive thing was the lead radar, I think is called. I don't know if you still use that.
Still the right name, mate? Yeah.
And that, for me, that's what my role has turned into, is that I speak to people, and my conversations and my calls, and having them in place, I wouldn't know who are interested, or I would have forgot. because you think about how many conversations you have every day, like it's similar, not as much, but similar to me. So I use that daily still now.
So we plugged in what is effectively a CRM,
Yes.
the database for all your members that not only makes coaching them better, but managing the people on the business side of that many clients better.
Yeah.
We then have the lead radar, which allows you to manage all the leads that you're at that point generating, but now it's like you're going to win in business for the unit the same way.
Yep.
Anything else that comes to mind at the start in terms of systems, or even along the way? Like I'm curious to hear what comes to mind for you. Don't let me pigeonhole you into right at the start. In terms of systems.
We very similar to the lead radar is I think celebrating wins was not a thing I used to do.
Yeah.
So we use like the 8 or 12 week block that you created. That I find amazing is that I have it printed out. Not everyone does this, but you tell people like it would be good to visually see things that are where you're winning, whether it's a client. And I have that printed out in my office. I have the Post-it notes on there with everyone's name, and I can visually see that every day. And if I have like an empty week, I know I've got to put in a bit more time potentially, or if like I didn't realise how well the last month has gone, you look back at that and you go, wow.
It's the stuff that gives you a flavour for where you're actually at,
100%.
that otherwise you avoid.
100%.
So by plugging those systems, you've actually seen that last one. You've seen 6, 8, 10 and 12 versions of that final system, which is, you've seen the evolution over 5 years.
I'm part of the furniture.
How did the business grow as a result of plugging all that stuff in?
Well, it grew because my mindset, and I felt a lot more lighter because they were there, because that's how I function, right? If all these systems are there, that means I can be calm, and then when I speak to people, I know that these are in place, ready to go. Same with my onboarding. So of course, that's another thing, is the onboarding. Notion is used for that as well. So the fact that it's been all in one place, it helps me in terms of like when people come on, I can onboard them like that. They can be in tomorrow with Amy. Done. Yeah. So that's what you started back then.
We plugged it all in that cupboard.
Now I've got it now. So
we spoke about that on every call, about like, we were plugging this in and we were amending everything to suit and tailoring it to suit your needs.
Sure.
So we did that with a view to, okay, we're always talking about a bigger unit, but we weren't really sure on what and where. No. Talk to me about outgrowing the first unit. Like, what? Because you were fully booked when you came to me.
I was fully booked, and that. Can we swear on this?
You can swear. Of course, mate. This is my show. Of course.
That fucker COVID came along, like with everyone. It affected a lot of people, right? In negative and positive way. I think it did affect me positively because I used the time that I had. Because I never had time. I was fully booked, doing 40 plus hours a week, 1-to-1, right? But the only negative thing was I had to shut my gym for 9 months. Cupboard. I had to lock the cupboard up. And shutting that up was tough because I lost 80% of my revenue. I moved to online, but not online like it was online as in Zoom classes. Because we did what we could to survive. And at that point I was just like, okay, keep it calm, try and keep doing what we're doing. I was still talking to you throughout that period and just finding out what the best process was to do. And then bear in mind I've got 80% reduced revenue at the, I think it was December 2020. A client of mine who's been a client for years, amazing person, always supported this gym, had a friend that owned this place. And he was like, do you want to go look? And I was sitting there like, I'm at like hardly any monthly recurring, got not hardly any money coming in.
Yeah, my worst place ever in business.
Yeah, but personally I wasn't too bad because obviously I've had a couple of years of like building. So I wasn't in any debt or anything like that, which was great. But I came in here and he actually walked me through, see behind you, see that it's like blocked up?
Yeah.
That was a door. So he walked me through here. It had like a load of sort of big railings and storage.
I remember sending me all the pictures.
Walked through there and it was for that unit in there, next door, which was like a lot smaller, probably very similar size to my cupboard, but it had a second floor. And I said to him, I was like, this is great, but like I want this one.
What about that one? Yeah.
And he was like, I'm using that one. And I just said, okay, I'd be interested in this one, but just let me know. And he texted me that night, he was like, this amount, which scared the shit out of me. and I'd be cool with letting you in because I'll just use it to store rubbish. So I was like, sat down, he's like, just let me know. And I was like, do you know what, let's do it. I had the time. It was December 2020. I think Boris let us open on April 2021.
Shout
so
out to Boris,
had about 3 or 4 months. And at that point, we didn't even know if he was going to close again because that's what he was Mr. U-turn, wasn't he? But it was all the unknown. And and then I was like, let's do it. So he built a brick wall. That brick wall went there, split this into this unit, paid for the office to be put up there, paid for it all to be self-leveled, put the flooring in, put the rig in. It hurt a lot.
It happened quick as well.
It happened quick. So by like January, February, we were kind of ready. So it took a month. But I maxed out credit cards to the tune of like maybe 25k. I used all my personal savings that was going to go on a house at that point.
Side note, house chat.
House now, but I had to delay it till that. That's how long ago it was. It was 2020.
4 years.
So I had to go, right, do I swallow this pill and not have a house when all my mates have a house? And it's just like, okay, maybe put it all in this. And then I got a bounce back loan, which I think majority of businesses got, which was around 20k. And that was a great help of the government, the one thing they fucking did right. And all that money went straight in, all gone. Within a space of a month.
I remember you getting it all. I remember you shitting it feels like yesterday.
I know.
But I remember you sending me pictures and I was like, right, shit. But all of that you said, the one thing that stuck with me with what you just said there is when you were outgrowing the unit, the cupboard, Harry Potter's bedroom, and then thinking about coming here, do you think you would have had the balls to go for this if you didn't have the control of like all the stuff that we plugged in with like the, being able to see your leads, being able to manage it?
Absolutely not. Like if you don't have the numbers in your head, like even though you might not show me the numbers as how to track numbers, you did a little bit, but like I kind of, because of what you showed me,
I went your own system on top of that.
Made my own system on top of it. It was like your influence. If I didn't know all them things, I wouldn't have been able to
confidently making the decision. No, like you made this decision knowing that this presented a risk.
Yes.
Right, but like
I was ready.
Calculated risk.
I was ready to take it.
Well, this is what we're talking about before
and
we
I had
started
you
recording.
in my corner, didn't I?
And that's it. You can speak to me any single time.
Yeah.
So obviously, like you were able to make what we're talking about prior to recording is calculated risk.
Yeah.
Based on the numbers that you've got.
Yeah.
So you've then got this unit. It's January. You've spent 40 odd grand all in your money just doing. And it wasn't like this. It was not. It wasn't like this.
It was shit.
It wasn't shit. It just wasn't this.
Yeah, no, of course.
It was just the V1. It was the minimum viable product, which was always the mission. And then you've now got this big space. Do all your clients come back?
Majority, I would say maybe like 70, 80%. And then it was more so new people that saw it.
Sure.
So I turned everyone from one-to-one into small group. The ones that didn't want to do that, I kept as one-to-one and slowly whittled down in terms of trying to get them into that. And then it was just like large group and small group. But I didn't really know how to run that initially. It was just like, and I asked you a lot of questions. And it was just like, it was hard to know what balance, but more so it was about trying to create a community. I know everyone says that a lot nowadays, and we've said it for years, and now we're sort of moving away from that in terms of saying that word, because we think it's more you just say it forcibly. I think things like this, it becomes natural, especially what we created now. But what we create from that 2021 is we just built an amazing group of people.
Yep.
And the relationships they created was the more important thing. It wasn't about look at us and my gym and all this gym because of these people. And so it was great to, even though it wasn't working, it did because it created such an amazing space.
It's interesting you say about community because it's one of those words that's been dragged through the dirt and then it ceases to mean anything anymore, like systems for a business or mindset.
Yeah.
Remember, I was mindset, the branding when you first reached out probably.
Yeah.
At that point, you cease to want to use the word because you're trying to disassociate with everyone who's using it for nefarious purposes.
Yeah.
I'll give you an alternative if you like for ONF.
Yeah, it'd be
feeling.
Yeah.
It's a feeling, right?
Yeah.
Because people go family or community, sure, everyone's fucking saying it. I can feel your desire to move away from it. It is a feeling.
Yeah, and it was more so the team that mentioned it as well, like Amy and Charlie, and they were like, that word doesn't feel like it did back then.
Well, let's join those dots.
Yeah.
So you're in here. Most of your members have come across from Harry Potter's bedroom to this thing, and now you've got some people in here, but you're having to go and fill with that with marketing, and then also we're now looking at Charlie enters the fray not long after this point.
Pretty much straight away.
Yeah.
But like part time and then into full time and then.
But shitting yourself when you thought about having someone.
Yeah, paying someone full time, and then the fact that I'd need to get someone else, and then potentially someone else. It was just like, and now we're at the point where there's five staff members, including my partner, which was a big thing. But yeah, it scared the hell out of me. And like last year, we moved into more of a full-time contract, which is like pension, holiday, which is amazing. That's been the most rewarding thing for me to do that and provide that. Whereas I thought it was going to be like a drain on the bit. It's not.
But this is why I drilled you on impact, because impact is like, it feels like it's just clients, but impact is bigger than that. It's like your ability to provide for Charlie. Because I remember when you first, and the rest of the team, which we can cover just now, but I remember when Charlie entered the chat for us. Remember I had a couple of one-to-ones with him. You on holiday?
Yes, I did, yeah.
You went on holiday and Charlie stepped in. But I remember when Charlie kind of entered the picture, I remember you being scared. Same with me, because there's responsibility of something bigger than you. So he comes in, but then the systems that we built, I remember this conversation, in terms of delivering to clients, managing clients, tracking sessions, onboarding people, all of a sudden you were able to teach that to him in a way that not only made sense to him, but also allowed you to have I'm going to say control initially, because Charlie's a question mark at this point.
Yep.
Every new member of staff is, right?
Of course it is, yeah.
But you can control what he's doing. So we've got quality control across the board of ONF.
Yeah.
So he comes in part-time, that becomes apparent very quickly it's going to work. Then what?
And then we just slowly grew. I think we didn't explode. We organically grew.
I don't think you've had any periods of explosion.
No, we haven't. And I don't know why, but I think it probably is a good thing that you don't. Because
I wholeheartedly agree it is.
It ruins it. And I think the fact that we grew maybe like 5 to 8 people a month slowly coming in, not all joining, but experiencing it. And that's happened over the space of 4 or 5 years. I think a lot of gyms, they want to rush it. They want to get so many people in the door. And it affects the product, and I think we've chiseled away at that product over the last 5 years to this point now.
That's huge, because you're saying, explosion, I don't know why it didn't happen. We're talking about investments, money, everything offline. Right, well, that's just compounding, which is what you've done. But the other part of this is the requirement, or the lack of requirement to explode and have a big period of lead gen is based on the fact that you have such strong retention.
And that's a big thing that this year has been unbelievable. But
just this year?
I think, the year before was good, and it was okay, but it would be all over the place and would have months of people dropping off and stuff like that. But the change that we made this year, because of the systems we had, is Amy, who came on board, and she was originally a member. She did her PT qualification. She didn't expect anything from it. She just was like, can I help out? Can I maybe try one session a week? She did. And that was probably, sorry if I get the date wrong, but it was a couple of years ago, maybe 2-3 years ago, that she slowly become the coach she is now today. And she's been mentored in a way by Charlie, and they've rubbed off on each other as well in terms of...
Careful, you'll start rumors.
Yeah, I know. Not the best one.
It's not that type of gym. Keeping the ball.
They've kind of been inspired by each other in terms of what Amy brings to the gym and what Charlie brings to the gym in terms of coaching, and then Amy in terms of the people skills.
It's the female thing.
Of course it is, and the female touch is it. I need to.
You're in trouble here, brother.
And when she came in, she slowly developed into a certain role, and the start of this year, she turned into what we call head of communications. So she's still a coach, but she basically is the check-in hub for everyone. So what you do with hyper support, which is another big thing that you have in the OC, it's kind of like our hyper support in a way, is that we will prioritize certain members, and she has the database on Notion, and throughout the week, she will check in with the ones that we think are high priority, things that we think are red flags. They change to red, orange, green, and we've got a system. And that works amazing.
The fun thing is that system that Amy's using is the system that we built in the cupboard.
Yeah.
For you managing your one-to-one Zoom clients.
It's slowly changing. I'll show you at the end of this, but like the way it looks and like the tidiness of it is so satisfying.
I agree. That's the word I would use. And
that's what Notion's great about.
I totally agree, and it's great to see that you're using the systems because I was clear with you at the point that you signed up that I have no evidence this works for your space, but
because your client directory is what we use for our member directory.
Yes.
But they have access to it online, people, right? Because you have to do all your check-ins in it.
Use it back
whereas
end.
we don't. This is for us.
Yeah,
so we've used it in a complete different internal system wise. So it's great.
I remember we built out 2 versions because remember we were approached online for a bit.
Yeah, we tried.
I tried. And I'm glad that you resisted me. I said that to Chaz in the car over here, but I'm so glad that you resisted. I'm so glad that you were like, no, because I'm looking for opportunities to help you grow, and you're clear on what you're building, and that's been amazing. So Amy comes in. I remember when Amy started, I could not hold on to Amy's name. I don't know what it was. It was just the 2 of you. It was just you and Charlie. And then all of a sudden I've got a 3rd one. I'm like, I can't remember her name. So she comes in, she's head of communications. We've now got the female touch and they're rubbing off on each other and all the rest of it. But to the female point, there's more than one female in the business now.
Yes.
Who's next?
So September this year. So she's been working now two months or so. My partner. My girlfriend. It's a goal that I had written down on one of my old notes on here. I don't know where it's gone now, but it must have been when I was in the cupboard, was a certain amount of revenue, as you always do. And then it was employ a loved one. This could have been my mum, dad, sister,
originally
whatever.
It was meant to be them. Because
it was
Tash
potentially,
wasn't even in the picture when we started this.
My dad's probably fuming. He got a job. But no, and it just came to light this year. Where she was ready to, she was a teacher, amazing teacher.
Yeah.
But I think again, she come to a point like with coaching, it was just, it wasn't maybe at this stage for her anymore. And I was like, I feel like you could bring a lot to what we do. And I like being with you and working with you and you being at home more is a win for me in terms of we have more time together. So I'm happy to pay for that privilege to have her here more. And it's less about her building the revenue of this business, which has come, because I can mention that, but it's more, I bought time with...
your dinner tonight, you've managed to save that one there, because you started to sound like she wasn't, but it's well done. You will have somewhere to sleep.
Yeah, exactly. And I bought time for us, which was a massive thing. So it was a very, very proud moment a couple of months ago when it happened, and I think she's very grateful of it, and she loves it, and she's taking it by the horns as such.
Well, I've said to you repeatedly, working with your partner is not for everyone. People look at partners that work together, and I think people see the upsides, the downsides are there as well, where you're together 24/7, running a business, the pressures of all that. You don't get to go away and hide from it.
Absolutely.
I'm going to ask you a weird question.
Go on.
As you move through this, revenue has grown, by my calculations, 2.5, 3 times over in our time together, which is incredible.
Yeah.
From a money psychology standpoint, did you think where you are now was possible?
No.
Okay.
My idea of like this doing well was way below what it is currently. And I think I still, and I think I have a good mindset of where I think it can be. But I do struggle with the sort of like, how long it's going to take me and stuff like that, which is because I'm like, what's the plan? What do I need to do to get to that point? And I'm sure we'll work on that. And we sit down a lot and talk about certain things, and I'm inspired by what you do and what you put into all these coaches as well, and what they can grow, because their mindset, I probably see a lot in these other coaches that their mindset very similar to mine. It was like, hit this number.
Well, what happens when you hit the number? Nothing, right? There's no confetti cannon that goes off. There's one more part that I want to touch on super briefly is, you mentioned it whilst we were chatting before we started recording about the car.
The car, yeah.
So repeatedly, as a client, you've come to me with a specific car, Defender 110.
Yeah.
But we've not bought it.
No. And I was sat up there talking to you, and I think the revenue was not that great at that point. I think I was growing a little bit, and I thought I had spare cash. But I said to you, I was like, I might do this. And
Did you not go and look at it? I thought you'd looked at it already.
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't drive it, but I went and had a look at it, and something didn't feel right when I was in there. But you told me getting it is not going to feel as good as the delayed gratification you get from just pushing it off another month. And this was 2.5 years ago. He said this to me, right? And I'm glad I did. And I'm still glad that I still do that now. I still drive around an Audi A1.
Which is a perfectly good car.
Perfectly good car. Gets me from A to B. I don't drive much. And I think it's less about the car. It's more about that goal of getting to that point. I think you spoke about this as well, because you have that now, because you delayed that for a long period of time.
So much sweeter for it.
Yeah, of course. And I think I use that a lot now. And a lot of people ask me, like, when you get, like, does it matter when I'm getting a new car? Like, I don't think it, for me, it's just like, I just want to keep it going in terms of here. I feel much more better about paying people's salaries and having impact on the people in here and making sure the investment in here is right than over something personal like that, which might be a bit of a drain on me mentally, if that makes sense.
It makes plenty of sense,
Yeah.
dude. And I'll close that out by saying I think there's a real power in the boss showing up in an A1, knowing that you keep ploughing money back into this place.
Of course.
The members can see it and they can feel, they were back to feeling. They
Yep.
can feel that. Whereas you haven't just gone off and got yourself the fancy motor.
No.
Fuck this, it's good
Yeah.
enough.
And I think it would be nice, don't get me wrong.
It will-
I think
it
that
will
there's
be
two
nice
sides
when
to
it
every,
happens.
there's two sides, but I think the psychology of the money at the moment for me is just like, I'm focused on freedom, I'm focused on how this place works, and I don't think that would elevate my life any more than it currently does, that I currently feel right now.
Here's a weird
But
question.
there might be at some point.
Yeah, and it will happen. It will happen. You're doing it in the right order, and I'm glad we had that chat. I'm glad
Yeah.
you held off. Here's a really weird question.
Go on.
If you could speak to Josh from the cupboard now, what would you tell him?
I'd tell him to keep going, because that COVID time, yes, I used it as a positive, but I was so like, I thought everything was done. I thought I'd have to go back to
David
a
Lloyd.
commercial gym or something like that. Or even I was thinking about going into like some sort of office job, which I don't think I would have been any good at. But I'm just so glad that, 2018 I started this, that it's still going. It's still creating impact, it's still growing. And the fact that I can, like this year, bought a house with how the business has grown, and I've never been so happy to be in a place than the house I am in right now, which I didn't think it would. Like, you never know how it feels, right?
Yeah.
And my partner feels like that as well. And it's not that it's like the biggest house in the world and it's got all these like gadgets and all that. It's not that. It's a perfect house for us, perfect first house, and yeah, I love it. And that to me is me feeling content, and the fact that back then I just don't think I could. I didn't think I would be able to afford a house or even employ my partner, and the fact that I can do both of them in the same year is pretty mind blowing. So yeah, Josh, keep going, because
100%. I will add to that and say, I feel like it's been a pleasure to watch the whole thing. Okay, it's been a real pleasure to just like watch the tenacity of you throughout it all. But I would say that Tash deserves as much credit as anyone else, because there was a clear inflection point. We don't need to dig into it, but I just feel like Tash is a force multiplier, and I know you know that.
Well, that's what partnership is, isn't it?
The right one,
With,
not all of them.
like you and Sarah is the best example.
Yeah, she's a force multiplier, so it's been an epic to watch, dude. And I for one, am super proud of the whole thing. So
No,
I mean, well done on what has been building a fucking kingdom from a cupboard.
And next up is maybe something that will scare me, which that's what you tell me to do often.
Okay, so let's close on that. What is the thing that's going to scare you? What's next? There's one project in place just now, so let's start with that.
There's no set in plans, but we have been measuring up and seeing if we can expand the unit here, rather than a lot of people say second facility. Is that the? I just don't think a second facility would work for me. Maybe not right now, but a second floor may do. It will just allow me to grow. At the moment, like you say, we're at about 140 members. It will allow me to grow over 200. It will allow the classes to be expanded in terms of how many we have, the PTs. It scares me because I'd need another coach at least, another full-time coach. There'd be potentially a coffee shop up there. There'd be potentially more to it, more depth. And it's just, for me, it's just making sure I get the right balance in terms of sometimes you can do too much in a business, and doing too much in a business, it can be more stress than it needs to be. So if I can get the right balance, and I think that may be the right balance, is the second floor and create an impact with 200 plus members, which would then allow me to support maybe 5-6 coaches' lives and keep them coming through, and it'd be like a base for fitness around here. That would be my aim, and yeah, hopefully that can be achieved at some point.
Well done. Super proud of you.
Thank you.
Thanks for being a part of it.
I appreciate you, and appreciate what you've created, because without this, you affect 100 plus coaches' lives. So, and I'm just one of them that's been along for the ride for a long time.
Very important one. One of the fucking original OGs, brother.
No, I love it.
Thanks for it.
It's great.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.